panelists today and our moderator. First of all, Khaled Armand, who is the moderator of this panel, is a film writer and editor. We have two students from USC, Ziyu and Ziyu Gao, she's not on my list. I'm sorry, Hanna, are you with us? Can you introduce you by yourself? I'm sorry.
I'm Hannah Stettler. I'm Ziyu Gao.
Okay, thank you. Malin Khan, who is the director of ELMA, Malin, and a former programmer at the A5 Film Festival. We have Voland, who is a consultant and founder of Voland International. And finally, two of our French filmmakers today. First of all, Pauline Loquès, the writer-director of Nino, and the writer-director of Cassandre. The film will be shown after this panel. And this is Hélène Merlin. Thank you, Hélène, for being with us.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to have a good discussion about subtitled cinema, American audiences, film festivals, and how to get young people, to see subtitled cinema, preferably in the theater. And we'll kind of get everyone's thoughts. We have a good mix of filmmakers, Generation Z, students from USC. Bonnie's been to a lot of festivals. Yeah. So let's get started. To the filmmakers, Pauline and Hélène, as French filmmakers who make French films that played at Cannes, now your films are playing in America. What conversations are you having, with the distribution, your managers, the industry side about your film and how it can, reach audiences outside of France, perhaps Americans, etc. How do you approach that?
I think there is a conversation specific about the United States, It's a French movie, so which premiered in Cannes Film Festival. So for Europe, it's like conversation about classic conversation, I would say, of the US. I was surprised actually by, that non-English films, it's really hard to make them exist. It is my first feature, so I discovered a lot of things, But yeah, I discovered how hard it is to make a movie in French, travel in the US specifically. For my case, I have an international actor because he's a Canadian actor, so he plays a lot, mostly actually in the US and in Canada. So we thought maybe it would be helpful. So we are like, my say, how do you say, sales? Yeah, yes. He told me, forget about, at first time he told me, forget about the US. I didn't think about the US actually, but said, forget about it, it's gonna be too hard, it's a tiny movie, but we need, really the language is gonna be a barrier.
Yeah, fair.
Okay. Maybe it's quite changing. We have the agent of Theodore, the American agent, who believes a lot in the movie, who says, I'm gonna struggle for it. But yeah, it can take, I think, like a year and a half to convince distributors here. So we're working on it right now.
I'm sorry, I will speak in French because I'm really jet lagged.
Still jet lagged.
Je n'ai pas vraiment eu de conversation avec le distributeur pour imaginer comment le film allait circuler à l'étranger. La seule chose qu'on a pu faire, comme on a une distribution essentiellement française, c'est que pour le personnage de Cassandre adulte, on a choisi une actrice qui est Agathe Roussel, qui a été reconnue et qui a reçu, le film Titane a eu la Palme d'Or et qui a une carrière aux États-Unis. Et on s'était dit que peut-être sa présence dans la distribution permettrait au film de voyager. maybe we can have a microphone.
So we didn't really have a conversation with the distributors in that sense about talking what the film would be doing internationally. We were mainly distributing it in French and had that conversation. However, we did cast an actress as the adult as the adult Cassandre, who is an American actress and so would be known in America. And so that might have been an actress that's well known in the US, so we thought that might be a way to distribute in the US.
And Malin, with ELMA, your young audiences, there's a lot of content out there online and social media and all these things, and curation is so key, I think, when they're seeing something, to break through the noise and choosing. And so you guys have a program, TAF, which exposes young people to foreign cinema, but you're choosing the film. It's very careful. Can you talk about that and how you make your selection and what goes into the types of movies you show them and why that's important?
Yes. So I came on as director of ELMA just in July, and one of the first things I heard about was this program and how successful it had been, basically from its inception. And it's nothing like when you roll up to the Directors Guild and you see buses lined out front, or you see students just crammed in the lobby in there, or you see students lined up at the Q&As, excited to ask questions to these filmmakers and these actors. It's really a wonderful, magical experience. So I mean, it really is so important to us, this program, and now we're in our 18th year. It's incredibly successful. Each year we select a different film with the festival director, with Anushka and Francois, and we have a lot of conversations about what films to select. And it's really challenging as well, because not only are we, showing them a film that is, subtitled film, it's one thing, but we have to make sure that they're not, they're appropriate for high school students, basically. And it's very difficult because what's appropriate for high school students in the US, I think, is different than it is for the same age in other countries. So this year, one of the big conversations we had surrounding Nouvelle Vague was that there's a lot of cigarette smoking in the film, which was a real conversation that we had to have. And it's really beneficial for us that we also are doing this program in partnership with the American Association of Teachers of French. And they create a wonderful syllabus that all of the teachers use to prepare these students and give them the appropriate context. So, I mean, it's a wonderful program. I mean, I hope that it's helping in its little way to change the perception of these, the idea that young kids in America don't like foreign film, because we see them responding to these films.
And Hanna and Ziyu, as the young ones on the Ziyu, sorry, as the young ones on the panel, what is your experience with subtitled cinema? How is going to USC change that experience? What's your experience sort of with festivals in subtitled cinema? And 90% of people admit that when they're watching something at home, they're doing something else. They're watching the dishes, they're doing stuff. In subtitled cinema, it's almost impossible to do that, right? You have to be reading and watching at the same time. And so, in my mind, that's why festivals are so important in repertory cinema, and that is because it forces you to go somewhere where you can't be doing those things. I'm curious, as the younger generation, what's your experience with that type of cinema?
Yeah, I think that's such a good question because I grew up watching subtitle cinema a lot growing up. I'm from Singapore, so I speak Chinese and English, and I watched a lot of foreign films like Wong Kar-wai, and recently like Parasite, of course. Like these films have been coming out, and I think more people are watching subtitle cinema. and making you like look out from your phone, because like of course like we're at home, we're like scrolling TikTok or like going on Instagram while you're watching a film, but like when you're fully immersed in a movie, like there's no better feeling than like you're fully in it. And when I was growing up, like I always watched film just fully immersed. And when I speak to my friends at USC, at least my film friends, they're very immersed in cinema. But when I speak to my friends who aren't as much into film, they're like always scrolling on their phones, and I asked them why. I'm like, why are you on your phone while you're watching the movie? Like, aren't you looking at like the composition or like the amazing like cinematography? And they're like, no, because like they don't really see the impact, I guess. So I think it's really important to kind of just spread like the message of like cinema and why people are going to film festivals and watching movies is for the community, just as much as for the message of the film. Which is why it's really important to go to film festivals. And I attend a lot of film festivals just because I also do social media, and it's such a great opportunity to meet people. I was at Tribeca, and I was able to watch a lot of foreign films that speak about just like a different type of like narrative. And like there's such a different like energy compared to just an English film that I understand. So, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on this too.
Yeah, so I grew up also kind of watching some subtitled cinema. I grew up studying French, so I watched some films in class. I think USC definitely does a great job of teaching like cinema history and like showing students some of those important like international films. But I also just think that with kind of the rise of social media, I think it's become a lot more common for people who really aren't as involved in cinema in like an academic way to still like, people will see clips of foreign movies on TikTok and Instagram and all these things, and suddenly I think subtitles are a lot less of a barrier just because people are getting exposed to these films through social media, and now that the technology exists to subtitle things a lot easier, I think that it's just become much less of a barrier. Like people will see these clips of films and want to go out and watch it, I think no matter what language it's in. And I think even with my friends in classes, my friends that aren't in film at all, I think even they have in recent years shown a much greater interest, and I've heard a lot more people talking about going to see movies that they never would have seen before. And I mean, I also work in international distribution, so I've made an effort to try and see every film that I work on, and so I think that has also helped me get exposed to a lot of different like Indian films, Chinese films, things like that. But yeah, I do think that social media in a way helps a lot just because people are starting to see these films and hear other people talk about them, and that makes them want to go see them as well, no matter what the language is.
Yep.